All right, everybody. Today we're going to be talking about Pokemon investing. Can we paint it in a new light? Is there validity to the points that people make that we're just damaging the hobby? Well, let's talk about it right after this. All right, everybody. I'm Andy with Northwoods TCG, and of course, if you're new here, make sure you guys hit that subscribe, that notify, and that like. It's greatly appreciated to do that. Helps out the channel a ton and keeps us moving forward. But today, we're going to be talking about Pokemon investing. Are we actually damaging the hobby with Pokemon investing? Are we a problem that's going to continue to cause damage to the Pokemon TCG and other TCGs? When I discuss Pokemon investing and things that I'm purchasing for long-term holds and how I plan on using those long-term holds to bolster my collection and my Pokemon movements, that's when I get a lot of kickback from people talking about why don't we just invest in stocks? Stocks are the safest way to go. Why don't you stay away from our TCGs? We love it, and you just don't. And that's the reasonings that you should never be investing in Pokemon. It damages the hobby. It causes so many issues overall for pricing. And is that true? Is this actually the case when it comes down to Pokemon investing? Is this actually something that's going to damage the hobby beyond return? Is it actually driving the prices up as far as people are considering? And also, is it better to be in stocks? Well, today we're going to kind of cover all three of those topics as we come through this little rant about what's happening. And currently I'm seeing a lot of comments, and that's why this video is coming up. Is once again, it seems like we run little phases where people start making a lot of comments about people shouldn't be investing in Pokemon. It's a kid's game. It's not worth investing in. It's not, stocks are the way to be. That's investment. This is just whatever. They have a lot of different descriptions to why we shouldn't and have disputes against it. And so with that being said, I want to kind of break that down a little bit and actually talk about some of the comments that continue to move forward. And the number one comment that I really get a lot of times is people say that you should stop investing in Pokemon because it's not the stock market. You should stay in the stock market where all people should be when it comes down to investing. And is that the case? No, that's not even the case, guys. People don't just invest in the stock market. You can invest in businesses directly. You can invest in NFTs. You can invest in real estate. People are buying the housing market, which is another big issue that we continue to see. The problem is that it comes down to where you're safe. Me, myself, I already maxed out my investments in the stock market. You're only allowed to put so much into a retirement every year. I could continue to put into my Roth IRA. I mean, past that point, but my 401k, I'm maxed out, guys. I can't do that. As of probably right around May, I'll completely max it out like I always do. And that's my retirement fund. That's from my own business, and that's just my thing. I continue to do Pokemon because I enjoy Pokemon. It's one of my favorite things to do. I enjoy cards. That's why I look through all the bulk. That's why I continually am buying cards and building binder collections such as these. I mean, I have, 12 binders up here of just cards. I mean, they are just all my fancy cards depending on what sets and eras and things like that. So I'm not just investing because I'm strictly looking at it from a money aspect. That's just a flipper in mind if they were just continually looking at the money in the Pokemon hobby and nothing else. I agree, flipping is not a good thing overall for the hobby in general. It just means that there's people out there and there's a lot of money moving in the hobby, not necessarily in a good way, not necessarily in a beneficial way, but it is showing that there's a ton of money moving, and a lot of times people just get screwed, scammed, and everything in between. So overall, that's just not a good practice for flippers to be in it. But if I see people such as myself that are strictly in it for monetary gain by selling products too, they're just a business. Overall, that's how a business works, right? That's how your LCS works. They're not investors, but they buy products, they buy cards, they buy singles from individuals, and they continually sell those cards over time, whether they sell originally or they take time because it takes popularity on some of them. They will purchase them and potentially hold them for a long period of time. Is that not a form of investment in a way? They're investing into their business. I'm investing into my business all the time. I'm buying new equipment. I'm buying new parts. I'm investing in new customers, new advertisement. I'm continually investing in employees to improve my overall growth. And that's another thing with investment. You can look at it several different ways. In general, investments are actually, people investing into something is actually a good thing, especially for the long term that we've had now with Pokemon. I mean, people have been investing in Pokemon for years, but people have been holding pretty strong on investments and their investment techniques in Pokemon for the last 3 years. It shows that there's still a lot of strength. Because if I see big issues with investment in Pokemon and shows that there's going to be cracks and things falling apart, then I'm probably not going to hold my investments any longer. I'm going to sell out and try and get out of it. But the fact that we're still building investments, we're building positions, and we're continually seeing growth in those positions and see future long-term growth in the Pokemon TCG should be a compliment to even the people that enjoy it as a collection, as they enjoy it as game players. That if there's that kind of feeling from investors, that pretty much should feel pretty safe that overall this hobby is in a very strong and a great position overall to maintain its health, and that's fantastic. Now, let's take another look at something that I continually hear all the time and really think that is an interesting comment is that we're ruining the hobby. Now, in general, how many people do you think are investing high enough dollars into this hobby, especially in modern Pokemon, that we are making a big dent in causing a booster box such as Evolving Skies to go to the moon? Realistically, it wasn't investors that caused that. That is actually collectors. Collectors are usually the main cause for the pricing to go up like that. Investors are just in it for the ride. We buy it low, we sit on it low, we wait for the pricing to go up and do its gradual gains, or we watch for it to explode because we had a feeling that it might do well, but we're usually still trying to buy it at the bottom dollar. Am I buying Evolving Skies and continuing to push that price up as an investor? No. If I bought any, it'd be 1 or 2 boxes. I'm not buying cases of Evolving Skies at this point in time, driving that price up. That's the same with anything. Take team boxes. Do you think I'm out there buying take team boxes now that they're driven up to $1,800, $2,000 a box? No, I'm not buying team up at this point in time. When it was $800 and kind of sitting stagnant, yeah, I was buying it at that point. I purchased 4 boxes at that point because I saw a good potential investment in the near future with tag teams becoming more popular again. But that's the difference is that investors don't necessarily drive the markets. We actually are just in it for the ride, and in general, we're just hoping that the overall products continue to go up in price at a very nice space. We're not necessarily hoping for huge surges right away, at least I'm not, but if it happens, and I take advantage of it. But we're not here to actually sit there and drive the market. We purchase products and we sit on them, and we plan on sitting on them for a long period of time. We're not the guys on YouTube opening packs trying to shill stuff to individuals saying, go buy this now because see what you can get inside. No, even my business with me opening on TikTok, I'm not trying to shill the product I have. I have extra position. I'm taking that extra position to run a Pokemon business to make some extra income for my family. It's a great way to do it. My wife is an at-home mom. She's an at-home worker. She's a caretaker at the house. And overall, she is just completely at home making some profit on some online businesses and the garden that she grows. But it's nice in this time to have some extra supplementary money, which is where that position that I've built up for the last 3 years can come in handy, that I could use that to make a little bit of income for myself and also roll it back into the Pokemon hobby. Once again, most stuff is getting rolled right back into the hobby, and we're continually growing small positions here and there. There are very few investors out there that are causing any kind of disturbance in the overall market. We're not capable of buying enough product of Scarlet and Violet base set to drive the price up. I mean, that would take millions of dollars. And there aren't that many big Pokemon investors sitting out there. Rudy at Alpha Investments is probably one that's probably the closest one that has that money limit, but he's not putting that much money into it either. The stock that he's buying is not actually going to affect the overall market. You have to buy a lot of booster boxes. And the only way to cause the price of a booster box to go from $100 all the way up to $500 is the collector. The collector is going to be the one that's going to do that. The people that are chasing those chase cards are going to do that. It's not the investors. If I bought $500,000 of Evolving Skies, if there was no popularity in there and collectors had no interest in it, it wouldn't go up $1. It would just be me buying it and sitting on it forever, hoping someone may some point in time love it. I'm actually going on the collectors, and that's where a lot of investors are actually using that leverage and using that experience to see what people like in order to really grow their investments overall so that they have positions in the future. Now, the last thing that I do want to talk about when it comes down to investors, just to paint this in a little bit of a new light. Most of us are very conscientious to the hobby. At least most of the investors that I know and the people that are actually having bigger positions in the Pokemon TCG at this point are more conscientious about the overall performance in the hobby. And we want growth. We want people to be successful. I'm the one that's sitting there giving people packs at a trading night. I'm the one who's helping people learn how to play the Pokemon TCG at my LCS when I'm there. I'm the person who's sitting there talking to people about where they're safe for money be placed when it comes down to purchasing in the Pokemon hobby, and maybe giving people directions on where to stay away from just because it doesn't seem like it's doing very well because there's not very much popularity in it currently. These are all factors that you have to consider when you're looking at investors. Investors are good for the hobby. We actually show that there is strength in the hobby. There is strength in the market, that the overall Pokemon hobby in general has some very good positions in it to where we see success. If I don't see success in Pokemon investing, I'm selling out all my positions and I'm just going to keep my collection. Because why sit there and potentially leave money on the table or lose a large sum of money because the overall market just isn't performing like it should and it's just going down the hole? We don't do that. So keep that in mind. Overall, seeing investors talk about investment in the Pokemon TCG, we are a very tight-knit community. We're a very small-knit community compared to collectors and openers and PSA graders and people buying PSA collections for their personal collections. We are a small factor when it comes down to that overall mindset. We're not driving the prices, guys. Much as I would love to say I could go buy enough booster boxes of Scarlet and Violet base set or Obsidian Flame to drive that price 30, 40, 50%, I can't. There aren't any investors out there that I know of personally that could do that. Rudy would be one of the ones that comes to mind that would have possibly maybe a war chest to do that on a set. But in general, it's just not a very popular belief and not something that any real investor is doing. So the growth you're seeing, the fact that a booster box or a case of booster boxes is now $2,000 versus $600, is not because of me as an investor purchasing the stuff and driving it. It's because collectors and the fandom of the Pokemon TCG and in the hobby love it. And that's the only reason it's doing that. Evolving Sky is cranking up that price like they're doing is not me as an investor. That is strictly an absolute hobby, a collector's position, a person who loves chase cards. People that are looking for that Umbreon are definitely the ones that are doing that. Would I love to take credit for it and say that investors have enough power to do that in the Pokemon hobby? Yeah, I would love to say that. But in general, we don't. Now, if you go down to WotC boxes and older era boxes where scarcity can be a bigger problem, then you could see investors buying large portions, like Logan Paul buying large portions of first edition base set booster boxes. Yeah, he can influence the price because it's such a small phase. But there again, he's not truly an investor in the sense of a lot of us in the small time where we're just continually buying positions in what we like and what we're comfortable with and what we see popularity in and what we see potential good growth overall. So overall, guys, I just wanted to sit here and have a little chat about that and put a little bit new light on it. Once again, Pokemon investing is not a bad thing. Me having positions and willing to hold positions for 5 years is definitely a good thing. Could I put more money into my Roth IRA? Yeah, I could put some more into it. But in general, I would rather put it into my hobby. I love Pokemon. I enjoy Pokemon. As an investor, me talking about Pokemon is because I do truly love it. And I enjoy playing it. I'm out at the LCS playing Pokemon. I'm collecting. I mean, I build collections of different cards and different binder sets of cards that I really enjoy from each era. And in general, I do enjoy the investing side. I like the challenge of finding products that are going to do well and seeing how they perform over time. To me, it's a little side nest egg to continually feed my collection side overall. I mean, yes, this year I'm trying to use this as a little bit of a business too. It's the first year I've done that. It's a little bit different when it comes down to my usual mindset of just buying, selling in a year or two, and then taking that profit and buying more into my collection and trying to build up that collection piece. So things have changed a little bit on my mindset on how I'm performing currently, but in general, it's still building my collection. I want to build a really nice Pokemon collection for myself that just isn't moving. That's why none of these cards that you see behind me right here have changed position or moved. They're not even listed for sale. They are my personal collection because I like Flareon, and I will continue to build a Flareon collection as long as I can. So in general, guys, I just want to sit here and have a little bit of chat because I'm seeing a lot of comments that, of course, blame investors. It's always easy to blame the investor because, once again, it's the smallest group of people out there in the hobby. Pokemon investing is a niche group, a very small group comparatively to a lot of the other sections of the hobby. It's always easy to outcast that particular side of the hobby when it's the smallest. So in general, just remember, as long as investors are here and we're willing to sit here and continue to buy products and move products and hold products and sit on products for potentially 5 to 10 years, then you could probably have some pretty good feelings that the hobby in general is doing really well and that you're in a safe place when it comes down to the Pokemon TCG. When you start seeing investing videos completely disappear, we start saying sell everything, and all of a sudden we start disappearing off the map where you don't see very many Pokemon investors anymore, probably should be considering that there's something big happening, or we're not seeing a path any longer, and when we stop seeing a path, we're definitely going to sell out on positions. So, and I'll keep my collection. Like I said, I would keep all these cards until I died. It wouldn't bother me at all. You know, my collection, my personal collection is what it is. If I have booster boxes, I'll open them bad boys just because I love Pokemon cards. And they're going to stay on my shelf even if Pokemon disappears again or goes underground again. It is what it is. I enjoy it. I love it. I'm going to continue to do that. Most investors have that feeling. Flippers are really the big problem in the hobby. That's what that's what drives secondary markets extremely high, is because they are continually pushing those prices higher and higher and higher out of range. And that's the situation that we're continually seeing. So once again, guys, hopefully this brings a new light to Pokemon investing, and that we're not the bad guys out here, guys. If you want to consider why prices are going so high, look at the collectors, look at the people opening the packs, looking for those chase cards. That is where that problem is coming from. It's not the investors. We're not buying enough to do that. And I would love to take credit for it. I would love to sit here and say that I could have the power to do that. Not a chance. Even if everybody I knew bought a case of every booster box out there right now, or a case of every set, it wouldn't even do a dent overall to the amount, especially in modern booster boxes. So thank you guys for watching. Hopefully it's some good information. Hopefully this changes your thought a little bit, that we're not the bad guys out here. We're probably just as much vulnerable to the market as anybody else, and probably more vulnerable than some. But overall, guys, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time. If you do like this kind of content, of course, hopefully I've earned your subscription. Hopefully I've earned your like, and hopefully you've hit that subscribe button before you've gotten here. And if so, make sure you check out the 2 videos at the end, and we'll see you next time here on Northwoods TCG.